Hello, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to my extended Summerween content. This week we are reading Summer Camp Horror, and I'm so excited. So I have 4 physical books in front of me right now, and I'm also reading an audiobook as well, this one. And I might add to this little TBR depending on how quickly I get through these. I don't know. Most of them are pretty small, pretty easy reads, but we'll just go where the wind takes us. You know how it is. But first up on the list, we've got You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight, which I've heard a lot of good things about. Kaylin Bayron is the author. We also have Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle, which I have heard even more good things about. This one's been on my radar for a long time, like probably since its release. And then we've got some silly little nostalgic spooky reads. We've got Goosebumps, Welcome to Camp Nightmare, and this is like the best thrifted find I've had in a while. The New Adventures of Mary Kate and Ashley, The Case of the Summer Camp Caper, which is a book that I actually read when I was a kid, and I remember loving it. And we're just gonna read it for fun. We're gonna see if it holds up. My chickens are about to fly out of their coop right now. I can see them out the window. So anyways, this is just gonna be a fun, silly, goofy time with all of our summer camp horror. Loosely horror, you know. But I'll let you know what I think when I've got thoughts. I'll put in some clips of me reading. You know the drill. You know what I'm up to these days. Subscribe if you'd like. We're doing spooky horror book content all month long for Summerween. I did a bunch of Summerween specific vlogs during the Readathon week, the official Readathon hosted by Gabby Reads. You know her, you love her. So yeah, we're just having a good old time. We'd love to have you here. Leave a like if you enjoy this video. Comment something if you feel like it. If you have any thoughts on my thoughts. Let's just get right to reading. Let's go. My dishwasher is running, so if you hear that in the background, I apologize. But I got to page 100 in You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight, and that is about halfway through, like really close. We're on chapter 8, and I'm liking it so far. But I will say it's a little bit slower than I expected it to be. That is so loud. I really hope you can't hear that. It's a little bit slower than I expected it to be, so I'm not just loving the pacing of it, but I'm definitely interested in what's going on. Let me give you a little bit more about the premise. So basically, our main characters are working at this camp simulation type of thing. They're putting on a slasher film simulation at a camp that was made famous by a horror movie that was filmed at this camp. So all of these teenagers, essentially like 18 years old around, are posing as victims of a slasher. One of them is playing the slasher, one of them plays the final girl. Our main character is the final girl, and she's kind of like the manager of the camp. Her boss is extremely removed, like he doesn't come to the camp in person, he's barely reachable by phone. So he's kind of like, he's absent. So the first chapter we get to see the game actually take place, and so you're thrown into the middle of this game and you see like everything, people posing as victims, people posing as the killer, and then the actual, I guess you can call them contestants in a way, like the players of the game, and you get to see how they're affected by that. And it's actually a really interesting way to start. But then after that first chapter, you have several chapters of like one, cleanup, like cleaning up from the game that you just witnessed, 2, preparation for the next game, and 3, just a bunch of like background on the characters kind of. So it's a lot of exposition. You kind of start to find out that some of the workers of the camp are starting to not really go missing, but they think that they left early. So at this point, we don't know that they're missing, but they're definitely gone. And I believe it tells you in the front, let's see. Yeah, coworkers begin disappearing. I haven't gotten to that part yet, but I mean, you know that walking into the book if you've read the front flap. Where I'm at right now, they've been told to cancel the last game. A little incident happened where there's a potential lawsuit. And so the boss, Mr. Lamont, is like, hey, cancel last game, refund the guests, everybody clean up, come home. So they're starting to clean up the camp where I'm at right now. And I think they're about to discover that their coworkers have disappeared and like have gone missing, but I'm not sure. But it's interesting to me that I'm halfway through and the like main event hasn't happened yet. And maybe that's because it's YA and it definitely reads as young adult, but I feel like there hasn't really been anything that's happened yet. Even the incident that leads to a potential lawsuit, I feel like that was such a small portion of what I've read so far that it almost feels insignificant, even though it's not. But I am still enjoying it. So I'm not hating on it or anything. Like it's fine. It's a good story. I'm interested, I'm intrigued, but I hope it picks up in the second half. So I'll keep you updated. I'm gonna keep reading. Okay. It did pick up. It certainly picked up in that second half. Like, pretty much once you hit that second half, stuff does not stop happening until the very end. Also, Clover's asleep next to me and you're probably gonna hear her snoring a little bit. That was kind of wild. There were parts of it that I was like, okay, what's happening? But it all made sense in the end, I think. Like, now that it's all wrapped up, it's all said and done, I think that the explanation for what was going on made sense and it fit. It reminded me, probably on purpose, it reminded me a lot of Friday the 13th, with like a little bit of a twist. I don't want to give too much away. Speaking of giving too much away, we have to talk about this. The front flap gives so much away. I wish that they had made the synopsis way shorter, and either shorter or just more vague, because some of the stuff that they were saying was going to happen did not happen until like 75% of the way through. And I feel like that's not giving me a synopsis, that's spoiling the plot. And maybe that's like a really fine line, and maybe I'm being a little bit dramatic here, but I feel like it was spoiled. Like it would have been better for me to not know the things I knew based on the synopsis. And normally I like to go into books blind, but for whatever reason, this one I read the synopsis and I just shouldn't have done that. And I feel bad because I definitely have shared some of it in this video and I might have to cut it out. I don't know. I don't know what I'll do with that. I'll decide when I'm editing. But yeah, I just feel like the synopsis gave a little bit too much away. I think that I appreciate the ending. I'm not mad about the ending. It was not what I expected to happen, which is, you know, good and bad, whatever your preference is. If you want to be the person to figure out the ending or if you want to be surprised, you know, it's neither here nor there. I definitely could not have predicted what happened, although I did predict certain people's involvement, kind of. But I had no idea to what extent that involvement was going to be. So there were surprises and there were things that I was able to figure out, and I like the balance of that. I like to be a little bit surprised, but also kind of given breadcrumbs along the way, so that it's not like the entire exposition has to be given at the very end so that you understand what you just read. I've definitely read books like that before where I'm like, no, that didn't happen. That doesn't make any sense. But it was good. I think because the first half of it was on the slower side for me and I was kind of bored in the first half, I think that I'm kind of leaning 3.75. Either 3.75 or 4. I don't know. I'm gonna have to sit with that one for a little bit. But it was good. It was better than some of the books that I've read during Summerween. It was honestly, I think, better than I expected, because I watched a video where somebody was talking about this book and kind of not really hating on it, but she definitely had some negative opinions about it. And so I had seen that before I got this book from the library, and I was like, God dang it. I was looking forward to that one. I really hope that I still enjoy it. I didn't expect it to be fantastic, and I think that helped me not be disappointed. Because it was definitely one of those books where, yes, I did hear that negative review, that single negative review, but I had also heard some positive ones. So I was like, okay, this is probably like a you either love it or you hate it type of book. And I lean more towards the love it side, because it did feel kind of like a classic slasher movie, which is exactly the vibe I want from a summer camp horror book. And I liked that there was a little bit of a twist, but not so much of a twist that it was too far-fetched. I don't know. It was good. I think I'm gonna go with 4 stars. I think that it was good enough to be a 4-star rating. I think now that I've finished that one, I'm going to dedicate some time to the audiobook I'm listening to, which is Dead Girls Walking by Sammy Ellis. And right now I'm 13% in, so I'm not very far. But it seems to be a long book. It's about 12 hours of audiobook time. But basically, the stuff that I know so far, without reading the synopsis, is our main character, I think her name is Temple, I've already forgotten. Her father is a serial killer, or an alleged serial killer. Like, he's been accused of it and he confessed, but we don't know like if that confession was like true or not. Anyway, her mother was killed and everybody suspects that her father was the one who killed her. So she's trying to like dig up the proof that she needs to find out if he did it or not, I think. And he tells her to go back to where the body was found, or to where it happened, and find out the secrets of, you know, whatever. So that's why she goes to this camp, and she is, I believe she's a counselor or an intern at this camp. She's not a camper. She's working for the camp. She is specifically taking this job so that she can kind of snoop around, and nothing has really happened quite yet. We're really just getting into the basics of the plot right now, but I'm definitely curious. I'm definitely curious about what's going on. I am wondering how invested I'm going to be, considering this is a long audiobook. I usually try to avoid audiobooks past the 10-hour mark because it's hard for me to stay focused on a book's plot for that long unless I'm like holding it in my hands. So I'm a little bit worried that I'm gonna lose the plot and lose my interest, but so far it's holding me to it. We'll see how I feel later on. I'll keep you updated. But I need to make myself some lunch. I am wanting to paint my nails again today because my nail polish is chipping and I'm kind of tired of this color. So I'll probably do that while I'm listening to the audiobook. I'll catch up on some Summerween vlogs while I'm listening to the audiobook. You get it. I've got stuff to do. So I will update you whenever I've got things to say. Okay, nails are done. They're dry. I'm not gonna risk anything by doing anything crazy, but they're dry. And I am a little over 20% through the audiobook at this point. I'm starting to understand a little bit more about the plot. It's still a little bit fuzzy for me, and I think that's just because I'm having trouble processing auditorily. But I did read the synopsis and that helped me piece some things together. I'm not going to share the synopsis with you because I fear that it will spoil something like the last book did. So if you want to read the synopsis, you can find that yourself. But it's fine so far. I'm curious. I wouldn't say that I'm deeply invested in it by any means. It's kind of slow moving in my opinion. But I am like, I kind of wonder what's going on. She's started to see a few things that have made her question her reality a little bit, which is bringing a little bit more, bringing more stakes to the plot, I think, because she's, you know, questioning stuff. And we've started to bring more character interactions into the plot, so it's not just her and her internal monologue going on. There are actually important side characters that are being introduced and learned about at this point. So I'm having a fine time with it. I don't think that I'm going to finish it very quickly because there are still 9 hours left, and unless the pacing just like picks up like crazy and I'm just devouring it, I imagine I won't finish it until the end of this week, and today is Sunday. So I will probably be moving through it pretty slowly because I don't want to just zoom through it and then not know what happened because I was just trying to get it done. So in between listening to this book, I'm going to pick up my other physical books and kind of read a few chapters here and there with those because I think that I'm going to enjoy them more. And 2 of them are middle grade / children's books. So I'll definitely be finishing those very quickly. So I think that that's a good palate cleanser between the slow-paced horror. And I also have Camp Damascus, which I'm really excited to read and I have really high expectations about. And so I'm trying to save that until the end of this vlog because I know that it's going to be like a big moment for me to read that one. And I'm really hoping that one goes well. Anyway, I think I'm going to pick up the Goosebumps book and read that while I catch up on some Summerween videos. And yeah, that's the plan. So I don't expect that I'll have many thoughts on the kids' books, but I'll share the vibes. I'll let you know what goes on. So that's the plan. This was such a delight. I remember reading this as a kid and rereading it just made me feel so good. Highly recommend picking up children's books from when you were a kid because it just, sometimes you just need that. And I want to show y'all, look at this blast from the past. The advertisements in the backs of the books. Oh, I just love it. I just love it. It makes me want to watch a Mary-Kate and Ashley movie. I mean, come on. That's so fun. That's so fun. Not to mention, I mean, for a children's book, it was a good time. I enjoyed myself. I know that I'm a full-grown adult, but can I still rate children's books? Like, is that fine? I feel like if I enjoyed it, I should be able to rate the books. I think that I'm just gonna make my own rules, and that will be going on my Storygraph reading wrap-up for it this year, and everyone's just gonna have to accept that. Next up, we're reading the Goosebumps book. I love that this is a hardcover because typically the Goosebumps books are paperback, but I think because this is a library specific edition, it's hardcover. I have a Nancy Drew book like this in my collection as well. It's a kid-proof cover according to the back. So I'm gonna read this as well, and I'm sure this will only take me like an hour tops, but I'm having a great time. Highly recommend. Could not recommend this enough. It's so fun. Hey girl, I think I'm bored. I think I'm bored. I'm like taking breaks after every chapter. And something about Goosebumps. Don't get me wrong. I love Goosebumps. I love a Goosebumps book, okay? Love the show. It's a fun time. But do we really have to end every chapter on a cliffhanger? Can we be a little bit more creative? I know that these are for kids. But they're so dramatic, dude. You can just tell that this was written by a man, derogatory. And going from The New Adventures of Mary-Kate and Ashley to this is like such a downgrade, I have to say. And maybe it's just this specific Goosebumps book, because I've enjoyed Goosebumps books in my adult life, but this one's not it so far. I'm gonna finish it because it's only like 100 pages. How many pages is this? It's 136 pages. Like, I can finish this. I'm not gonna DNF a Goosebumps book. But I'm just trying to tell you that Mary-Kate and Ashley is better. Okay? That's just basically all you need to know. It's fine. It's fine. It's a children's book, and you can tell that the intended audience for this one in particular is a young boy, and that's just not who I've ever been. So it's fine. I'll finish it, and I'll enjoy myself. And if I don't enjoy myself, then I'll have a funny story for you guys after. But just giving you a little update. Sorry, I'm gonna complain some more. I just feel like every other chapter ends with a sentence like this. Of course, I had no way of knowing that the scariest part of my summer was still yet to come. It would be one thing if he had said that one time, but we've been ending chapters like that for a while, so I just think that's kind of silly. But I'm almost done. I'm like 20 pages out from the end, so I'll let you know what I think when it's done. What a trip that was. Wow. Well, I did finish it, and boy, that ending, I didn't expect it. I'll give him that. It was indeed a plot twist. Multiple plot twists actually at the very end. It was fine. It was fine. It made me laugh. It was really silly, goofy, very campy, very, very 1990s, like, child humor. I don't know. It, like I said, silly, goofy time. It wasn't as fun as the Mary-Kate and Ashley book by any means, but it was still very nostalgic and made me giggle, so it was fun. It was a good time. So now I'm going to prioritize my audiobook, Dead Girls Walking, and my last physical book, Camp Damascus. I'm very excited about Camp Damascus. I really, really can't wait. I'll probably start it today and finish it tomorrow, maybe? I don't know. It depends. I guess it depends on how invested I am in the plot and what the pacing is like. But we'll see. I'll keep you updated. Thanks for being here. This is so fun. I'm having a great time. I know that I'm going to be a little bit backlit, so I apologize for the lighting in this clip. Okay, I wanted to sit at my desk. So audiobook update, I'm 31% in. I got through another few chapters while I was sitting here doing admin work this morning, and I'm just not really vibing with it very much right now. It feels very slow, and I can't figure out if that's just because it's a longer book than I've been reading lately, and so it just feels longer, or if it's actually slow and actually boring. I don't know. I'm gonna continue listening to it. Sorry, Clover's readjusting on the couch and making all kinds of noise. I'm gonna keep listening to it. I think that I will probably not finish it in this vlog just because I just don't care about it right now, and I'm not gonna force myself to finish it just so I can give you my thoughts. If I do end up finishing it and rating it and stuff like that, you'll hear about it in my monthly wrap up anyway. So it's not like you're gonna be missing out on my thoughts. You just won't be getting them as soon as we originally thought. However, this book I started last night and I am loving it. I'm loving it. How far am I? I'm not very far. I'm on chapter 4, so not even 100 pages in, but I'm loving it. All you religious trauma girlies out there, this one's for you, baby. This one's for you. Like I said, I'm not very far into it, but I already feel so invested, so into it, so connected to our main character. Like, this is good. This is gonna be good. So I'm excited to read more. I'm excited to read more of this and tell you about my thoughts, but we'll get to that in a little bit. I gotta continue doing my little computer work, but I'll get back to you soon. Don't you worry. Okay, I've read a little bit more, and I'm just loving it more and more the further I read. Let me just give you like a little bit of a picture of what we're working with here. So we're following our main character, who is extremely religious, like grew up, I think Pentecostal is the denomination of church that she goes to, and her parents are like super religious. To the point where it's like this gives you a pretty good picture. So she and her mom go on walks together, and her mom will point to houses that they pass and be like, this family sinned in this way, go. And the daughter will repeat back how they should repent and how they will be able to reach salvation. It's like she's so in deep. So it's like that level of like so deep in the religion that it's like pretty much all they talk about. And her internal monologue is it's so real. Coming from someone who grew up religious, her constant over-analysis of, am I sinning? Am I being tempted? Is this thought wrong? Should I repent? Repeating Bible verses in her head over and over and over to drown out every other thought is just so familiar to me. And I just connect with this character so much. And she's starting to see what she thinks are demons. I don't know what they are actually yet. I'm not that far into the book, but she thinks that she's seeing demons because she has sinned or because she's been tempted. She's talking to her therapist weekly, multiple times a week actually, who, from what I gather, is not a licensed therapist, but just someone who is a therapist from their church. You know what I'm saying? Like biblical counselor type of stuff. And she's telling him all of this, and he's like, oh, clearly you need to repent. Like it's because you are so hungry for knowledge that it's become gluttonous. Because something that she does is she gets hyper fixated on like random facts and goes down rabbit holes of research, which is something that I have done so many times in the past. But her therapist is telling her that's gluttony. You're hungry for knowledge and not hungry for God, and that's bad. And that's why you're seeing these apparitions or seeing things that aren't there. It's because you're stressed and you feel guilty. It's so wild to read a story from this type of character who is living this type of life, just because I either relate to things that she is thinking or is going through, or I know people who have been through these things. And so it's just hitting close to home. And something really traumatic just happened to our main character, and I'm not going to spoil it because it shocked the socks off of me, and I want you to feel the same way. But extreme trauma has entered the chat, okay? And she is like questioning everything. Like, why would a good God let this happen type of questions. And she's kind of beginning to have a little bit of a mental breakdown. Like, who am I? What is my identity? Do I even exist? Do I believe anything that I was taught? And so she's kind of spiraling. And I have a feeling it's just going to get worse from here. But I'm on chapter 5, page 83. So still not like crazy far into the book or anything. But things are happening. So that's the update. Okay, I finished this so fast, and I want this to be longer. Bottom line, I wish there was more of this. This was too short. I wanted more. I am impressed though that Chuck Tingle was able to put so much quality plot into such a short book. There were a few places where I felt like the pacing slowed down, but I didn't mind it too much. Like it was fine. But I am craving more of this. This was so good. And where to even begin? There were so many things about this that I loved, and so many things that I thought were like interesting and just really caught my attention. One of the first things that caught my attention that I didn't even say earlier was that whenever Rose, our main character, is talking about her parents, sometimes she refers to them as mom and dad, but every once in a while in her internal like thoughts, she'll refer to them by their first name. And I just think that distance being created and their relationship is so interesting, especially so early on. She's already creating that distance and setting like a boundary against them. And I don't know how intentional that was, but it just really, really caught my attention. Also, I love all of the subtleties that we get signaling like, hey, something is off early on. Like whenever Rose realizes that her bedroom door is gone and she's like, where'd my bedroom door go? And her dad's like, oh, you've never had one. And she's like, huh? What do you mean? And then you kind of start to question like how much of her reality is founded in fact. And that trend continues on, and I'm not gonna spoil anything because it's like I said earlier, the shock value is like perfect. It's not so out there that you're like, oh, I don't really believe that. But in this book, the stuff that happens just makes sense. I don't know. I didn't know going into this how she was going to be connected to the camp. Like if she was just going to know someone who went to the camp, or if she was going to be sent to the camp or whatever. And I found her connection to be so interesting, and it was like a little bit of a plot twist, I guess, that I didn't see coming. I think a lot of people probably saw it coming, but I certainly didn't. And so I liked that. And I know I'm being really vague, but I'm just trying not to give anything away, because I think this is the type of book that it's worth it to go in pretty much completely blind. Even the front synopsis, I think I might have said this earlier, it's like there's like nothing here. You don't learn anything from the synopsis, and I kind of love that because I love going into books blind. But anyway, I loved it. I loved it so much. All of the religious trauma that was explored, all of the theology that was explored in general. There were so many interesting thoughts about like biblical inerrancy, infallibility, the way that the church can sometimes twist interpretations to achieve their own goals, the way that money is used in church. It just explores so many huge topics when it comes to Christianity and religion. And I just really appreciate books like that. I really love it. I think that it's something that I want to explore more in my fiction reading, because I've read a lot of nonfiction books on religion in my day, but I haven't read a lot of fiction that focuses on that. So this, along with American Rapture, which I read not too long ago, they have sparked my interest for sure, and I will be looking for more books like this. So if you have recommendations for books similar to this, please drop them in the comments, let me know, because I am putting them on my TBR immediately. I'm also very interested to read more from Chuck Tingle. I am very intrigued. I'll be reading more from him very, very soon. Mark my words. I think that I'm going to end up rating this maybe 4.5. Knocking off a little bit for the little bit of pacing issues in the middle where it got kind of slow, as well as just wanting to have more of this. And maybe I should do 4.75, because that doesn't feel like a huge offense, but it's definitely not 5 stars like American Rapture was for me, because American Rapture is a perfect book, I gotta say. But it was really, really good, and I'm probably going to be thinking about it for a long time, so I'm really glad that I read this. But yeah, that's going to be all for this week's reading vlog, and this will be my last reading vlog for the month of July, which means it's the last of Summerween. But never fear, I will always be reading a lot of horror, so you'll be seeing more horror content from me, but I will be reaching back into my other genres to add a little bit of variety. So if you'd like to join me on the journey, feel free to subscribe. I try to post every Thursday a new video. And if you like this video, give it a like, leave a comment if you have any thoughts on my thoughts, and I'll see you next week. Bye!